The second hour here for Breakfast Extra. We continue our big story, this time on major security discussions. And now, as Nigeria continues to grapple with rising kidnappings, violent attacks, and widespread fear in several communities, just this week we have seen yet another wave of abductions, many ending with families forced to pay huge ransoms, despite the government's repeated insistence that it does not negotiate with kidnappers.
Now, these incidents are happening as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu declares a national emergency on insecurity and backs the call for state policing, a move many say is long overdue. Beyond declarations, what real changes can Nigerians expect? Why do ransom payments continue? Is this advertently empowering criminal networks? And what practical steps are needed to finally break the cycle of kidnapping, banditry, and insurgency? Now, this will be a comprehensive discussion from the government's new security direction to the persistent failure to protect citizens and solutions that could truly restore safety across the country. To discuss this pressing issue and explore potential solutions, we are joined by Yahuza Getso, a security intelligence and investigation expert.
Mr. Yahuza, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Good morning once again.
Right.
So talk to us. Why do you think kidnappings have surged again? You know, despite multiple security interventions, what are the key weaknesses in the current security architecture in Nigeria?
Well, there are a lot of reasons that are complex in nature, complex in perception, complex in managing, and complex in handling, among which the major reason why we are having resurgence of this insurgency, especially the issues of kidnappings, can be looked into a several perspectives. One, the negligence from the government, from the security agencies, from the larger population, the citizens of Nigeria, and also from the philanthropists, among which can be classified as the traditional, religious, and the business owners. Politicians are playing a great role in the case of promoting resurgence, as well as the judiciary, the anti-graft agencies, that is the EFCC, the ICPC, and the rest of them. The condition of our judicial system and the inability to manage to have justifiable elections at the local governments, lack of justice in selection of candidates right from the councillorship, even the leadership of the party at the polling units, the porous border, the inability to hold people accountable for the authority and responsibilities being given to them among the security agents, the security managers, the security heads, as well as even the local government authorities and the members of our legislature, right from the local government council legislature, as well as the state legislature and the National Assembly and the Senate themselves. The executive have not been doing what they're supposed to do. We are not saying that all these are not doing anything. But what they are doing is not enough. Even if they are doing, what they are doing is not enough, and have not, because it have not proven the seriousness, the commitment, the sincerity, the honesty, in purpose, in delivering what is expected as enshrined in the Constitution, protecting lives and property as a primary responsibility of the government. Yes, of course, the declaration of state of emergency in respect to security and the push for state police. The push for state police, I think, is just a joke, because it's just like a Kannywood film. Because we are not sincere, we are not honest. I don't see us going there. And if Nigeria tries, for any reason, to have a state police, under the present condition of what Nigeria is and what Nigerians are, and under the irresponsible political leaders that we have, by practice, by operations, by managing, by administering, by use of impunity, by negligence, by their weaknesses, by their personality weaknesses and the background failures. Definitely right. Nigeria and Nigerians are going to regret it.
Mr. Getso, let's just settle a bit on the emergency on insecurity, state of emergency on insecurity that Tinubu, the president, has now declared. Let's settle on that first before coming to local policing. What would this declaration mean in practical terms for citizens? But most importantly, is this emergency declaration going to mean more concerted efforts? Is there a possibility of more hands? What would it look like?
Well, first of all I call on all and sundry in Nigeria to commend and salute President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, being the Chief Security Officer of the nation, for even making the statements, for him having the courage, for him having the confidence, for him believing that we need to have something like that, even in a statement, even making the statement, it carried a big weight. And he deserves to be commended. And I salute his position. I salute him for making the statement and making the declaration. What it means is that Nigeria is still a sovereign state, and Nigeria have a responsible leader, a humble, and someone who have the pain of killings, someone who have the pain and concern on the issues related to life and death, somebody who have the concern of the future of the Nigerian territory as an environment, someone who believes that Nigeria deserves to change, someone who believes that all hands must be on deck for us to deliver. Making the statement, the declaration of state of emergency by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu means many things. 1, operational. 2, social. 3, psychological. 4, general refurbishing, turning around upside down the security architecture. 4, purchase and procurement of necessary required facilities, equipment, and gadgets needed for that to happen as an emergency situation. And 5, it is a statement that means the government is has woken up from its slumber, that he is ready to provide all the necessary support required for the Nigeria to be safe and for secured and safe Nigeria. 6, is sending a message that government is no longer going to tolerate the nonsense, the negligence, the sabotage, the weakness in policy, the complicit, the compromises, the corrupt practices, and an inability to have a legislation and direction on fighting the insurgency, especially the banditry and kidnapping and all other forms of the security challenges bedeviling the nation. And number 7, it means that all the security formations are expected to go back and look in what do they have. Conduct a SWOT analysis to understand their strength, to understand their opportunities, to understand the threat within their system, to also understand the opportunities and also present to the government the need assessment. It means sending the message to those who are committing the atrocities. The declaration means surrender your arms and accept the peace deal, or rather the government is going to take it, is not going to take it lightly on you. It is saying the end is coming of abducting the children in schools. The declaration also is an explanation that governments want to have a peaceful roads, a motorable roads, and also maintain and sustain the national unity and national cohesion, progress and development. It means government is going to reposition itself to be more focused on how to fix issues in Nigeria. Making the declaration also is a message, is a testimony that Nigeria has opened its doors for all the foreign countries, the international powers, and other neighbors to support and assist Nigeria in dealing and managing and addressing the security challenges bedeviling the nation.
All right.
It is a clear testimony that all those at the policy position, the governors, the councillors, the local government chairman, the Senate, the National Assembly and the state assemblies, as well as the local government area councils, and the councillors, the traditional and religious leaders, have been given an open hand. The ordinary person moving on the streets, everybody is expected, the president have given a clear testimony that my door is open and I want to work with Nigerians towards addressing whatever challenges that we have.
All right.
Those in the academia, including the opposition parties.
All right. Just a second, Mr.
President Bola
Getso.
Ahmed Tinubu for taking.
Right, Mr. Getso, just a second. We're being informed that another of our guests is joining us now, and it would be hang on.
We're being joined now by Seyi Adetayo, who is a security expert. Mr. Seyi, Mr. Adetayo, rather, if you can hear us clearly, thank you so much for joining and having this conversation with us. But I'd like to know what you think about the president declaring a state of emergency in our security, architecture right now in Nigeria. Do you think this is what we need at the moment?
I think it is. Good morning, and glad to be here. I think it is long overdue, and I want to appreciate the last speaker for the effort at trying to enumerate all the benefits or the major highlights around the declaration. But most importantly, this is something that someone like me have been calling for a long time. If you remember, last time I was on your station, I think during the Lakrawa incident, and I made it clear that we're in a state of war. You also brought a general, a retired general, that was talking about non-kinetic and the rest, and we are high challenged. Yeah, I'm DSS retired. I'm not a soldier, but I'm trained to be able to appraise situations and then be able to forecast. And that is what, we've seen in some of the people that have held leadership in terms of our armed forces, not being able to appraise the situation and handle with kid glove. We should be able to understand when we're in a state of war and then when we are having a situation that we can manage. This is long overdue. And I know that the president must have surmounted lots of political pressures and the rest, to come to this point, because there are those who do not want, the president to act in this manner and to take the bulls by the horns, because they know at the end of the day, the fallout is going to affect them one way or the other. But as a nation, we must survive, and we need to do what we have to do, and we have to do it at the right time.
Right.
To look at all the,
I wanted to just quickly ask, I think it's important to ask this question. Although we've seen a reshuffle with the service chiefs within the military, but one still has to state here whether this state of emergency in some ways can be linked to the present military structure or the policing itself, or police.
Okay, I don't think I really understand your question, but let me just respond in this manner. The president didn't just come out to say, I'm declaring. He held a meeting. He had meetings with the service chiefs, and before that, he had a meeting with the Director General of the Department of State Service, who had appraised him of the situation and giving him credible intelligence as to the reality on ground. We've seen a lot of narratives around, most times wrong notions, wrong informations that have, not really helped us. But the most important thing is that for us to be able to get it right, we need to respect intelligence coming from our own apex intelligence service, which is some of the problems we've had with some service chiefs who want to prove supremacy. What supremacy are you going to prove when you're operating within your country? You're dealing with local population. You don't have the intelligence to handle the local population. The organization that is responsible, when they give you information, work with it. DSS have been on ground for years. They have the asset, they have the structure. And I think we are trying to get it right now with the leadership that Mr. President is providing now, operating based now on intelligence from his APS intelligence service to coordinate security generally. You see, the Kirby happened not because there was death of intelligence. Intelligence was provided. In all these attacks, TSS have provided intelligence. So the question is, why do we still have this attack when DSS have always been providing intelligence that this thing will happen? It means that, yes, you might have preponderance of information, from here, left and right, but I don't think that America will ever decountenance intelligence coming from its APEX intelligence service, before they, why they want to, carry out any operation. So I see this as a watershed in us addressing the situation at hand at this moment. And I look forward to us beginning to see, it's not just declaring. If you look at the content of the declaration, the Director General of the DSS have been mandated to deploy the forest guard. That is something. Even though they've not said much about it, for anyone who understands what the president has done, that means that you will understand what we should be able to start getting out. And not only that, the armed forces, the police, they've been asked to now recruit more. If you remember, my previous presentations on this station, I have highlighted all those things some time past. I said that the current armed forces strength we have cannot take care. We are not dealing with a standing army.
I seem to have lost Mr. Adetayo there. Seyi Adetayo is a security expert. But whilst we try to re-establish connection with him.
Dealing with enough manpower that you divide the forest into quadrants, begin to clear the forest, each quadrant by quadrant, and as you are clearing it, you are putting men on ground to secure the areas that you have cleared, or you are able to push them. You can't do that with this current strength that we have. And I think we're beginning to understand what we need to get done.
Mr. Adetayo, I do have to ask, is it strength? Is it about numbers, or is it about expertise and training, right? Because like you rightfully said, the threat and the terror to our doorstep has evolved, and they are now fortified with the arms that they carry, sophisticated arms, the monies that they get from kidnappings and the rape.
I missed the beginning of your statement.
I'm getting there. I was asking that, is this about numbers or about training? Because you're saying that the army, their workforce or the numbers of troops are dwindled over the years and they need more hands. So is it about numbers or about training? Because we know that the terrorists or the bandits or the threat that is imminent at our doorfront have been fortified over the years, and they have evolved as well with the times. And so are we just recruiting people to join the military, or are we going to be training them? One has to look at that. But also you talked about intelligence. Are we factoring into this intelligence the patterns that we're seeing with these attacks and targets that are happening, whether it's kidnappers, school, abductions and highways in certain communities? Your take.
So, number one, training is important, numbers is important. Number is important, but let me say this clearly. We have one of the best armed forces in the world. That operationally, that I can give you. The problem might be leadership of the armed forces per time, but we have the best. And I said something on another station that for sophistication of weapon, U.S. armed forces cannot.
Mr. Adetayo, are you still there? All right. I'm hoping Mr. Getso is still there with us.
Yes,
Mr. Getso, earlier you said state policing in Nigeria, you termed it a joke. Would you want to give us reasons for making such a statement?
Yeah, just before I give the reasons for that, I think just to add up to what my brother has been emphasizing, who are we recruiting? How are we going to recruit? What is the number? The total number of the forest guards that we have is not up to 2,000. Those 2,000, to the best of my knowledge, as a community hard to reach and a difficult terrain expert, I believe that they cannot even cover 2 local government or 3 local government. If you can transfer all of them, including the management of the forest guard, how many are they? The issue of DSS to send the forest guard to the forest, to man our forests, it's not about having the declaration. Even though we are not hasteful and we are not discouraging, Mr. President, but there are a lot of things to do. And another thing I want to make very clear is that 99.9% of those who are committing atrocities in North Central, Northwest, and Northeastern part of the country, they are known. They are not unknown. And 99.9% of them are Nigerians. There are 4 categories we need to understand. There are armed importers, there are armed traders, there are armed movers, there are armed transporters. Yes, of course, the armed traders and armed importers may likely be around 65% or thereby foreigners. But the armed transporters and armed movers and those who are utilizing the arms, 99.9% of them are Nigerians. And they live within us. And they live within our polling unit, within our political world, within our local governments. We know them, we know their parents, we know their co-parents, and they are not living in any thick or difficult terrain where our personnel doesn't have the capacity to reach and deal with them. It's just to have the sincerity in purpose. We must start holding people accountable for the responsibility being given to them. We have the capacity, we have the armament, we have the personnel. I cannot say that the level of capacity and armament and personnel that we have, we cannot be able to curtail the situation on ground. Now, talking on the state of police, there are several reasons. Even the federal police that we have now, the level at which the governors are doing a kind of power play, using them as for impunity against the opposition. We even had one of the contenders, one of the presidential candidates in the year 2023, he made declaration yesterday that they are going to give authority to the polling units and the other members of his party. So they are no longer going to consider any security architecture or any security personnel, but rather they are going to use what they have as a strategy. They will ask people to take law into their hands. A presidential candidate is making this statement. And there are a lot of statements being credited to many of our politicians. The police authorities, the police intelligence could have arrested them immediately and deal with them squarely. So the governors you have don't have any iota of respect to police authorities, even the federal police.
All right.
And those so-called community guard or whatever they initiated in their respective states, they are using them against their opponents. They are not really using them for the objective, for the purpose, with the sincerity, for the purpose of delivering results, for the purpose of securing the nation. So if you allow state police to happen in Nigeria, under present irresponsible politicians that we have, many of the irresponsible leaders,
all right,
the unscrupulous element that we have,
okay.
I want to tell you, Nigeria is going to have a more failure, and it is going to be more dangerous to Nigeria's security than otherwise.
All right. Very quickly.
We need to go back and fix the present federal police that we have. The number is not adequate, and we need to reorient them and conduct a background check. In the last 35 years, or more than that, we have been recruiting, our recruitment process, our training process, our promotion process, our posting process. We have been recruiting, promoting, and a kind of in serious mess.
All
So
right.
we need to fix that. We are not serious. We don't have sincerity in purpose. So declaring the state of emergency is different. Operationalizing the state of emergency is different. I'm not discouraging Mr. President. I'm encouraging him and I commend him for this initiative.
All right, Mr. Getso, just a second. We would like to bring in our second or third guest, who is just joining us now. Chidi Omeje, he is a security analyst. Chidi, thanks so much for joining us. We talked about the emergency declaration by the president on insecurity, or rather on insecurity. We've also talked about state policing as well, and we've looked at the workforce of the military and whether or not it is about numbers or about training to tackle insecurity. But one issue that we have not touched on is the kidnappings and the ransom negotiations indirectly, and critics saying that it indirectly funds banditry. How do you think the federal government should be responding to this? Do ransom payments fuel and strengthen criminal groups?
Thank you for having me. I've been battling in network all morning trying to join you guys. But
Oh yes,
I think I'm
Nigeria.
here now. Are you hearing me at all?
Loud and clear.
Very well then. Okay, so good morning everybody and my colleagues in panel. I appreciate you guys. Well, I think your question has to do with if the idea of paying ransoms to kidnappers will be sustainable, or what exactly is the question? Can you refresh me?
No, I was asking about, critics have argued that ransom negotiations and payments of ransoms to banditry, in some sense, critics say that the ransom negotiations indirectly funds banditry. And the federal government has said, when we look at the release of the Mina girls or the Maga girls and the rest, they've not been so clear as to how this happened, as well as in Bernie Kirby as well. So the question is, do ransom payments actually fuel and empower strengthened criminal bandits? Do they fund the banditry?
Most definitely, of course, you know that. Where do you think they are getting the funds from? Where do you think they're getting funds to fortify themselves? Look, every time we pay ransom, you have empowered even more terrorists, more bandits into their business. Each time these guys receive funds, of course, a bigger chunk of it goes into procuring even more formidable weaponry. So it has never been an option. That's why most serious countries don't see negotiation with bandits or ransom paying as an option. But in our own case, Nigerians have been left to their own devices. Government seems to be totally overwhelmed by the situation. And that, of course, if you have a family member in the hands of these guys and you have the option of paying, even to sell your land to pay, you have to pay because you want your family member out of their captivity. So it's out of desperation that we are doing this thing. But I do not think this sustainability of this approach. Otherwise, we won't have a country to live in. I just came in from the east the other day, and I tell you something, the whole stretch of Kogi State are now completely infested by these guys. I remember, being stopped by the military guys on patrol, and they told us, look, that along that stretch, that every now and then you see these guys coming out to cut Nigerians into the forest. If you have idea how many Nigerians in the captivity in hands of these demons, you will weep. So things are happening. I was listening to you guys, even though I was not unable to join, but we talked about this state of emergency that be declared by the president. Well, like my brother there, the guy on cap, I don't know his name, like he said, one thing is to declare this thing. One thing is to make policy statement. The other thing is to implement it and operationalize it. I don't know, but Mr. President, but in fact, the one thing that this situation have given us, have told us Nigerians, and made it very clear to Nigerians, is that security is actually the fulcrum of any society. If your security collapses, everything collapses. Education, transportation, everything goes under. So if we don't fix it right, we can't progress. So security is everything. So this emergency declaration, just a way of telling Nigerians that, look, we recognize the fact that we can't thrive in an atmosphere of insecurity. We cannot do anything. Even our budget system cannot work. Even our governance things cannot work because security is down. Nothing happens. People can go to school. Our daughters are being carted away in KB. Our school children are taken away from Catholic school in Niger, Niger State, and our roads, our federal roads are danger.
Mr. Omeje, apologies, but I just have to butt in at this point in time. That's because we need to take a pause on this conversation. We'll definitely continue right after this break. Stay with us.
And you're welcome back. We've been talking insecurity in Nigeria as Tinubu has declared a state of emergency on security as well as local policing. We've been discussing local policing, ransom, and also what a concerted effort would look like to tackle insecurity across the country. With us, we have Yahuza Getso, who's a security analyst, joining us all the way from up north here in Lagos. We also have Chidi Omeje, and not to forget Seyi Adetayo, all security analysts, and giving us in-depth insights when it comes to security architecture of Nigeria. Now, Mr. Chidi, I'm going to allow you with your closing remarks, and then we're going to ask final questions as we wrap up this discussion. Chidi, you have the floor.
I was just trying to, establish the fact that, for us as Nigerians, security is just the issue now, and Mr. President have understood this fact, a reason why he had to declare the emergency. So we must support him. We must find a way to work, we're speaking in one voice as a country, because we have a country to retrieve from the hands of these bandits and terrorists that are ravaging our lives. But like Yahuza said, one thing is to declare sweet policies like this. The other thing is to implement them. Now, how are we going to implement this? I think it boils down to political will. Political will is the issue, and in our context, political will means the ability of the leadership to tackle the entrenched interests. Entrenched interests here means those power, how do you call it in this country? The ones who call themselves the owners of Nigeria, and they can be found in politics, in military, in business life, in religious circles. They're everywhere. But these are ideologues. These are big people. So will the president be able to muster that testicular fortitude to implement this, important policy? The policy I mean here is the emergency, because it's a government policy, and we all hands must be on deck. For instance, he talked about the issue of getting the VIP police VIP protection unit out from there to give it to civil defense. Will he be able to implement? Will he have the political will to carry out that particular, vexatious policy? Because most times, in fact, every other administration that I've seen, I've only tried to. You say every IGP that comes in will say, "I'm going to withdraw VIP," but they never get to do that. So I'm hoping that Mr. President will exercise that much needed political will to see through to that particular order. Then another thing is talked about employing, to increase our boots on ground. Very important. But important thing again is if you recruit more and you are not able to reduce the theaters of operations. For instance, we have the Southeast. Don't you think that the best the government could do is to make sure that you close that theater of operation? The theater of operation in the Southeast. Anywhere you can use political solution to deal with. You do it so that you release troops there to join forces elsewhere. That's why we're saying sometimes there are times you use political solution to deal with some of these issues. So I believe that the issues in the Southeast can be dealt with so that we can free the troops there to join in somewhere else where we have issues, because the tension in the Southeast is tied down to the issues that everybody know about. So for me, the whole thing is all about the political will to deal with the situation. And across that, the much acclaimed Jagaban of Nigerian politics will deploy those, qualities, the political sagacity and all those, he has the capacity of winning elections. Let us see if we can deploy that capacity into winning this war against insecurity.
I'll let me come to you, Mr. Adetayo. I'd like to ask, how intelligence gathering can be used as a tool to prevent attacks. And where are we right now when it comes to intelligence gathering in Nigeria?
Fairly well. And I can say that with all sense of responsibility. the fact that we experience a surge doesn't mean there is increase in capability of the insurgent or bandits. It's because of network. I couldn't explain that when I was talking about the need for us to have more boots there. Now, our military have killed more bandits that you can ever imagine. But the problem here is that the recruitment capacity or mechanism of the bandit is very, very strong. The more they kill, the more they recruit. And that's why it seems as if they are not doing much. And they, those indices that enable, easy recruitment, they are all still there. And in terms of intelligence, it was intelligence backed up operations that actually pushed the bandit off where they were. After several air bombardment by the Nigerian Air Force, leading to them having to come down, to the fringes of the forest to start picking people, to use them as a human shield and cannon fodder. And that is why we saw those up.
Adetayo, are you still there? It looks like we lost connection with him. Let me ask the question now to Mr. Yahuza Getso. Mr. Getso, are you still there?
Yes, absolutely, I'm there.
Yes, I was asking Mr. Adetayo how intelligence gathering can be a tool to prevent attacks.
Well, having the intelligence in Nigeria is different. Utilizing the intelligence is different. I commend the intelligence of Nigeria for being able to expose probably a coup that was about to take place. But if at all you have those skills, and also the skills of intelligence that was used in order to get the children of secondary school in Kebbi, Dimaga, and that one of the Catholic in Niger, and the rest of it. And if we really have those intelligence, if we really have those skills and those capacities, why can't we use the same in order to bring an end of this menace entirely? Intelligence is very, very important, because it is only when you have the intelligence that you will be able to prevent the occurrence of the criminality. We have enough intelligence. The communities in northern Nigeria, especially in the northwestern part of the country, northeastern part of the country, and north central part of the country, the community, the members of the community are really very proactive in providing those intelligence. And I want to tell you, like I said always, and I'm repeating myself, these criminals are not coming from the ground, and they're not coming from the sky. They are known. We know them, we know who they are, we know where they are, we know their parents, so we have all it takes. And we must use the available intelligence in order to break through into their supply chain mechanism, so that we can be able to handle and manage them accordingly. But it is because our intelligence has become so porous, or rather, the relevant intelligence agencies are just competing among themselves towards making the president to know their availability and know that they are doing A, B, C, D. But the reality is, if at all we are utilizing the available intelligence we are gathering, we wouldn't have gotten ourselves to where we are, or to the situation that a president must have to declare the state of emergency. Nigeria have the capacity, have the ability, have the intelligence quality, have the intelligent personnel that can be able to provide and organize and mobilize whatever it takes for us to have the intelligence that we could have prevented these guys from committing the atrocities and committing the offenses. So intelligence is very, very essential. It's very, very necessary in kind of dealing or managing or addressing any security challenge, bedeviling the nation, or whatever situation it may be. Our personnel are doing their best, but their best has not been enough, simply because we have not been holding people accountable and responsible for the authorities and responsibility being conferred on them. And we will continue to be in this mess as far as our judiciary remain in mess as it is, as far as our legislature remain in mess as it is, as far as corruption remain there, as far as we cannot deal with complicit, as far as we cannot deal with those who are compromising openly, directly and indirectly, as far as we cannot hold people who are sabotaging the state effort, as far as we cannot confront those on who took over some of the spaces they become the leaders. As far as I'm concerned, now what we have in Nigeria is we have the federal government, we have the state government, we have the local government, and we also have the criminal combined authority. Because these criminals, because of our weakness in terms of generating and utilizing the intelligence, they are now partnering with one another. There is a very close partnership between the Boko Haram and the bandits. There is very close partnership between the ISWAP and the bandits. There is very close partnership and collaboration between the Lakurawa, the Mahmuda, and the rest of them.
Okay.
So inclusive of the IPOC, because that's the way forward for them to generate, to mobilize the resources. They are all partaking in one another's business.
Okay.
So we must be serious. We must have sincerity in purpose if we really want to deliver.
All right.
And we said we are recruiting. Who are we recruiting? We must conduct a background check on those who are recruiting, and we must also go back, dive into the personnel that we have in the military, in the paramilitary, and conduct. Okay.
I mean, we do have to end this discussion here. I must say thank you to everyone, starting with you, Mr. Getso, as well as yourself, Mr. Chidi Omeje. Unfortunately, you had to join in late. And also to Seyi Adetayo. The network has been a bit poor on both your ends, but still managing to join us is much appreciated. Thank you so much for coming on. This has been our discussion on insecurity, as the president has now declared state of emergency on security.